Baha'u'llah's writings explain that God is one, the ultimate reality whose nature is and will forever remain inaccessible to the human mind. That He is referred to in the scriptures of the world's religions by different names, God, Yahweh, Allah, Brahma, indicates differences in human perception, not of the identity of the divine. Baha'is are taught to regard the founders of all great religions as messengers or manifestations of God. Their common purpose has been the awakening of spiritual consciousness. Baha'u'llah warns against the temptation to make any difference among them with respect to their station, their authority, or the essential role each has played in the progressive civilizing of human character. One of the most important of Baha'u'llah's teachings is the concept of progressive revelation. The great religions are not separate and unrelated phenomena, but stages in the gradual unfoldment of a single divine purpose, the preparation of humankind for the task of the long-promised age of its collective maturity. Although the succession of divine revelations will continue throughout eternity, the advent of Baha'u'llah marks the fulfillment of the promises contained in the scriptures of the prophetic religions that preceded it. His teachings lay the spiritual foundations for humanity's collective coming of age. There is only one human race. Looked at objectively, the diversity of the Earth's people is a reflection of both the beauty of the race and the infinite range of capacities that empower it to fulfill its collective destiny. The reality of human nature is spiritual. Through prayer and meditation on the creative Word of God and service to humankind, the faculties the rational soul requires for eternal life are awakened, trained, and developed. For Baha'is, spiritual and social evolution are reciprocal aspects of one process. As the soul's spiritual capacities are refined, the individual is empowered to contribute to the advancement of civilization, and this, in turn, nurtures the development of the individual member of society. Baha'u'llah urges everyone to reflect deeply on the truth that justice is the sole means through which the unity of mankind can be achieved. He further sets this principle in its universal context. The well-being of mankind, its peace and security, are unattainable unless and until its unity is firmly established. In the dramatic changes taking place in human consciousness and human society, Baha'is see clear evidence that the desire of peoples everywhere for unity and cooperation is capable of overcoming the inherited barriers of the past. With all its tragedies and disappointments, the 20th century awakened humanity to possibilities unimaginable to earlier generations. Regarding the principles of Baha'i belief, Shoghi Effendi, the guardian of the Baha'i Faith, wrote the following: "The Baha'i Faith recognizes the unity of God and of His prophets, upholds the principle of an unfettered search for truth, condemns all forms of superstition and prejudice, teaches that the fundamental purpose of religion is to promote concord and harmony, that it must go hand in hand with science, and that it constitutes the sole and ultimate basis of a peaceful and ordered and progressive society. It inculcates the principle of equal opportunity, rights and privileges for both sexes, advocates compulsory education, abolishes extremes of poverty and wealth, exalts work performed in the spirit of service to the rank of worship, recommends the adoption of an auxiliary international language, and provides the necessary agencies for the establishment and safeguarding of a permanent and universal peace." In just over 150 years, the Baha'i Faith, initially viewed as an obscure movement in the Middle East, has become universally recognized as an independent religion established throughout the world, embracing people from more than 2,100 ethnic, racial, and tribal groups. It is quite likely the most diverse and geographically widespread organized body of people on the planet. Its unity challenges prevailing theories about human nature and the prospects for humanity's future. The faith has no professional clergy. Rather, its affairs are governed by councils, democratically elected by secret ballot at local, national, and international levels. Funding comes exclusively from voluntary contributions of the faith's registered members. As proselytism is forbidden by the Baha'i writings, the community's growth is the result of personal contact, programs of public information, and a wide range of activities equally open to inquirers and members. Baha'is see themselves engaged in the process of learning how the principles taught by Baha'u'llah can be translated into the realities of personal and community life. It is in this spirit that they share their experience with others who are similarly devoted to the ideal of a world at peace.
Ya Leo Allah, Ya Baha'u'llah, Ya Leo Allah. I'm a scientist, and so I'm always thinking about the connections between science and religion, and how God has given us all of these things in nature to help us understand the attributes of God. And so, you know, every plant, every stone, everything has some attribute of God that, you know, we can look at and relate to. And so I think about those things a lot. Yeah, people are like that too. And we're not supposed to all be the same. We are all supposed to be different. And I think recognizing that, and being able to find the best attributes of each person and bringing those out, and then, you know, working together with those. That's really, I think, what the unity in the future will be. The inspiration for working in gardens really came from my grandparents. And you know, you'd ask me about flowers, and actually my grandfather, I always went around with him as a little girl, and he had roses and iris and things like that in southern Utah. And I knew I loved working outdoors because of that. I went back to university when I was 35 with 5 kids and got my degree. And I knew already that I loved to work outside. I knew I could be outside for 8, 10, 12 hours a day and be happy. I wasn't really happy if I wasn't outside working. And so I knew that was really what I wanted to do. And it's harder for me now. I'm getting older. It's harder to do the full 8 hours of that kind of work. But I love it so much that I just push through. I find myself praying all the time. Yeah, I can't read the writings. I can't read the prayers without acting. I just can't.
Any quotes that come to mind that you particularly like?
At the gate of the garden, some stand and look within, but do not care to enter. Others step inside, behold its beauty, but do not penetrate far. Still others encircle this garden, inhaling the fragrance of the flowers, having enjoyed its full beauty, pass out again by the same gate. But there are always some who enter and become intoxicated with the splendor of what they behold, remain for life to tend the garden. But there are always those who enter, become intoxicated with the splendor of what they behold, and remain for life to tend the garden.
I'm getting ready to fix some chicken Alfredo, homemade, and we're getting ready to have that for prayer, and also some potatoes with gravy and peach cobbler. That's what we're getting ready to have. and it'll feed a lot of people. And you know how Jesus was. Jesus had 2 pieces of fish, 5 loaves of bread, and he fed a multitude. That's what this is, feeding a multitude of people. Now, last year around about in, year before last, it was around in November. My husband had, and I was having problems. I wasn't his favorite person anymore, and I was getting ready to kill him for real because I had it up to, wait a minute, here with him. Todd and Charles came to the door. Todd said, I want to talk to you. I came to talk to you about your soul. So I was like, I went to the door and I was like, okay. So he said, yeah, can I, come in, whatever. I said, yeah, come on in because you're letting out my heat. So he came on in, sit down, he ate something to eat, he talked to me, he gave me the pamphlet about the Baha'i Faith. By that Sunday, I had joined the faith because I told him if it wasn't for him and Charles coming here that Sunday, I would definitely be speaking to you behind bars, seriously behind bars. When I joined the Baha'i Faith, Todd was telling me, he said, you know what, he said, what we do is like we start out with book 1, reflecting on our soul, life after death. Now I'm in book 3, and book 3 talks about being a teacher of the faith to children. And it says clearly in the book that you don't need a whole bunch of, you don't need to go to college to be gifted in teaching the children, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be teaching the very young. I said, that's what I'm gonna do. I don't care what's going on around me, that's what I'm gonna do. And one of the things that they were talking about that you should help the children in the children's class do is memorize a prayer. Because there's a lot of persecution and stuff in the world. If you already have God in your heart and you have memorized the prayer, then you always got that prayer with you. If you can learn them how to love their brother as they love themselves, to not cheat, steal, or lie, and to treat others as you want to be treated. If you instill that into them in kindergarten and in 1st grade, they will keep that with them for life. They're going to speak up for themselves. They're not going to let people bully them. They have learned to be protected by God just through the children's class and learning what to do the right thing. I have learned so much from being a Baha'i. I have learned how to better control myself. I have learned how to treat others as I treat myself. We all have the same Father, and He wants us to do what is right. He don't want us to even think about it 2 times. Anything that is happening in your life, God is putting it there for a reason. God is not going to put on you no more than you can bear. It's just a wonderful feeling to wake up in the morning and feel like God got your back.
There was a lot of difficulties that I was having while I was in high school. My dad wasn't around. I was being raised by my uncle. Me and him kind of fell out. I moved away from there. A lot of the people that I had just met were going to jail. And so I was really on my own. I started to feel like what can I do to better my situation? Where is God? I really enjoyed drawing. As I was sitting there one day drawing this house, a youth came to me, a small, probably like 11 years old, and he asked me if I knew his friends that lived in the house that I was drawing, and I said no, I was just out drawing. And he introduced me to him. He invited me to this junior youth group.
Okay, only one time.
The youth were really receiving a lot from this program. From then on in, I was really interested in participating and helping out however I could. And in order to be involved with becoming one of the role models for this group, there's a sequence of courses that helps you think about how to do it. So there's a training. And so I got invited to one of these study circles, and I went based on the fact that the people who invited me were very genuine and very loving. I didn't have much of an idea of what the material was going to be about, but I was very happy to go and see. What study circles have done for me was create an environment that I can really express my spiritual beliefs with a variety of individuals and really get like their deepest understanding of how they have developed spiritually. The friendships that I developed in study circles are stronger friendships than I ever developed in my entire life. It's just an irreplaceable part of my life now.
It's nothing like being in the woods. You hear the woods come alive as the sun rises, from birds chirping, squirrels barking. What is a better place to say, hey man, God made this moment, made this place just for me to be in it. In those woods, I'm usually spending my time hunting. I'm out there and I'm able to think in the downtime because I'm able to reflect on the beauty. It just completes the cycle. My name is Travian Mitchell. I live in Durham, North Carolina. I am an 8th grade science teacher, head football coach, head track coach, and a loving husband. The way I came to be in contact with Baha'is is a strange one. I'm on my way hunting, a place that I don't figure too many people knew about. And a gentleman drives up and he hollers out, hey buddy, you kill many deer around here? He goes into a conversation about how he's looking for a place to hunt and whatnot. So I tell him, hey man, we can get together sometime if you like. Let's share a hunt. And a hunting partner is a wonderful thing. So the guy gives me his number, goes by the name of Mitch. Lo and behold, man, it begins to be the start of a beautiful relationship. He says he works with a junior youth program. I asked him a little bit more about these junior youth groups. Again, I'm all about making sure the youth are prepared, man. So I want to say, hey man, it's funny you're working with youth because that's my passion, that's my thing, making sure that youth are good. We got to the conversation about it being a Baha'i principle of service. And I'm like, Baha'i, I've heard of them. Right down the street in Decatur, literally on the other end of the street that I lived on, it's been a Baha'i center. I was introduced to a gentleman by the name of Saul. One day we were talking about religion and I was explaining, how I'm a bit combative when it comes to Christianity. Well, that led to Saul inviting me to a study circle. I went and it was probably one of the realest experiences I've ever had, where it was like no one was there to be like the leader or the pastor or the minister. It was an experience that I had longed for in Christianity. It was comfortable. And though it was a setting in which we were learning some religious text, it was almost to the point where the conversation was very colloquial in that it was just everyday talk. About something that was beautiful and spiritual and edifying to God, to our spirit, to our community, and that would help us change the world for the better. I even came to find that I can learn the teachings of Baha'u'llah and still keep Jesus. That was beautiful because in the end, we're talking about unifying people anyway. Nothing different than what Jesus was trying to do. There was nothing ever demeaning against me, one, being a Christian, and two, me and my love for Jesus. I have every intention on continuing on with these study circles. There is something to be had by them, so I can use it as a tool to give to someone else to say, hey, you find yourself in this situation. Well, I got some reflections of the spirit that I want you to check out, and it might just help you in this situation. And it won't go against anything you believe in, but it might just help you in a place that you might find yourself when nothing else has helped you. I only hope that the things that I do, the things that I say, the atmospheres that I create make this world a better place. Through the kids that I teach, I just hope they change someone's life for the better, to make not only them a better person, but to make their world a better place.
Oh mi Dios, haz de tu belleza mi alimento, de tu presencia mi bebida, de tu agrado mi esperanza. Yes, I'm the hospitality coordinator. That involved to, make sure that all the cabins are ready for the guests and the Martha Hall, seminar rooms, practically the whole campus or the places that session is gonna need. For me, I go in and the bedroom is a mess. I can't wait to clean it. So when I I can't wait to see the difference. You know, the more mess, the more excited I get. I mean, that's, I'm honest, I really enjoy, after the big mess, the clean room, and it's just ready for the next person. I became a Baha'i in 1997. This friend of mine, Sedona Callahan, she gave me a book with the hidden words. And then it was so beautiful, in Spanish, which was great. Then I opened it, and then just the first, verse, and it was so really, like, I think I need to, become a Baha'i. Parados de ti como por un velo. Tú, en verdad, eres el Todopoderoso, el que todo lo sabe, el Todo Glorioso.